confession time here. This is actually,
So this episode, I try co-generating an inspirational TED-style talk and slide deck and awkwardly present it to 100 computer science students. Plus, bonus, 1 theme song, 1 supermodel, and at least 3 bad puns.
This is challenge number 12. Use AI to give a talk.
Welcome to Gen AI. So, hi folks. If you're new here, I'm Jenny Monroe. I'm a generative artificial intelligence, or Gen AI, hence the pun, fangirl since before the word was even invented. I set myself bi-weekly challenges to use AI tech, culture, and media to try and work out what it means to be human in the age of AI.
I think I might actually go blind. Yeah, okay, we're not going to do that slide. Here we go. Right, so I don't know how many of you have actually heard of ChatGPT. Yeah, so ChatGPT, Google Gemini, your favorites. What happened was I saw a call for speakers on my work email, which I'd logged back into for International Women's Day events, but the deadline was the same day. So I thought, I would love to do this and put myself forward, but why don't I just throw it into my favorite chatbot and see what talk the chatbot suggests that I give and put that into the submission. So I did that and the talk was selected. Thanks. And I refined it back and forth a little bit with Gemini and ChatGPT, came up with a slide outline and threw it into this is Gamma, which is one of many of the tools that you can use to generate some slides for you. And yeah, here we go. So it took the slide outline and is now throwing some slides out for me. This is probably going to sound ridiculous. I don't know how much time you folks have spent making slides, but there's a lot of people who spend a large portion of their working life pushing pixels around doing this. This is game changing, even if it does look a bit corporate right here. Cool. So that's Gamma, and let's see what we got.
Yeah, how not to write a talk. I don't know if anybody who's listening to this has actually tried the slide generation tools, and there's far more available now, but the big one at the time was gamma.app. So I tried that, which is cool, and of course used ChatGPT and Gemini to work out an outline, a kind of project brief, slide by slide, what I wanted to include, and then I just copy pasted that into gamma.app, which generated the slides, and then I exported that into Google Slides, which the conference we're using, but also I like Google Slides anyway, and was just using that to graffiti my own slides and edit them. So that was what I used. If you find a better combination, let me know. But I'll include a few clips from the result, maybe not the whole thing this time, because look, I'm really glad I did this challenge, but I'd been on maternity leave for the best part of a year. Thank you, UK working laws. But I was rusty AF. And pretty much a walking panic attack for several hours after I gave the talk, which reminded me now that there's this quote I like from Vin, the communication guru YouTuber, which is basically, you can be great at anything, but you have to be willing to be shit at it first. One of the topics I covered in the talk was imposter syndrome and sort of fear and self-doubt. Sometimes what feels like imposter syndrome just means you're honing a new skill, or you're in the learning zone, or maybe you're a genius with self-esteem issues. But either way, I am very sorry to the 100 computer science students who had to listen to me remember how to speak to adults. Some are actually subscribers to this blog. A little bit of inspiration. I went back to what I think is my fave TED Talk of all time, which is by the model Cameron Russell. It's called Looks Aren't Everything. Believe me, I'm a model, and I've linked it in the blog. You can check it out. Way better than my retelling. But anyway, she's an intimidating supermodel, right? And she walks on stage in this killer little black dress and immediately alienates half of the female audience. But of course, she's doing this on purpose, and with perfect comedic timing, says, I knew I shouldn't have worn this dress. And over the course of an outfit change and her 10-minute talk, she proceeds to, in her words, transform the way that we think about her. And she's simultaneously showcasing while also completely tearing apart the power of image. So that was cool. But I also love that she managed to somehow avoid the TED has a very over-rehearsed speaking style, which is very, you're speaking a certain number of words a minute. But she somehow manages to avoid that. And she also, even more impressively, manages to talk about privilege without making everyone kind of squirm around in their seats. A model to follow for sure. So there's the inspo. Feel free to check it out. A few clips.
This is probably going to sound ridiculous. Yeah, we're just going to go with these. Experiment to progress. So I'm a big fan of experimenting. And so I was at DeepMind, right? And they do a lot of research. And when you do research, you have no idea what you're going to get, whether it's going to be any good. So that can set you up as a team for a lot of failure, right? Pursuing all these different research directions for years at a time, you don't know what's going to come back. So what they would do was they would frame it as a success if you completed the experiment. Make experiments that have a reasonable chance of success and celebrate completing that experiment, regardless of the outcome, actually. And I think that's been super valuable for me. I've already explained I struggle with imposter syndrome, but that discomfort often just means that you're learning. And that's actually something I heard the Snapchat CEO talking about last week. Too many podcasts. That imposter syndrome can just mean that you're learning something. So start before you're ready. Deep fake it till you make it. Another piece of advice to be used with extreme caution. But build through action and just start. Don't have those business ideas in the back of your head that you're thinking, oh yeah, I should do that. I should do that. Just set yourself the challenge to try it, to experiment. And if you completed it and it failed, great, learn and move forward.
Next,
there's so many reasons that the systems around us in the world that we see and don't see discourage us or make it more difficult to succeed. And we all have our own fears and doubts. I'm a recovering perfectionist because now I have 3 small children and it's just not possible. There's all the time we're taking ourselves out of the running because we just assume that something is not a good fit for us, or we wouldn't manage it, or just enough hesitation in a busy world to not put ourselves out there. And a few of my examples, I actually didn't publish my master's research in computational creativity because I didn't think it was good enough. And even though I got a distinction, I didn't put myself out there. I didn't apply to Google initially when all my friends were studying computer science because I just assumed I wouldn't get in. I had all these stereotypes of what it meant to work in consulting and business and being a programmer. And I initially avoided a bunch of these options that turned out to be really good fit for me because I didn't, honestly, I was terrified by some of the people I met at university who already knew they wanted to be a management consultant. But yeah, don't tell anyone that. No, it's not like that. You don't even give somebody a chance to be unconsciously biased against you in an interview if you're not at the interview, right? So I just really want to encourage folks to try and reflect where you're already taking yourself out of the running when you could be just giving it a try or experimenting. I actually didn't apply to DeepMind, that first DeepMind AI role, until I went to a Women Tech Makers event just like this, which really inspired me. So that's one reason I really wanted to do this today, in the hope that it might do the same for you. And I'm really glad that these events still exist. Next, rule number 3, don't be invisible. So in my first real job at Accenture in consulting, the advice I got when I went up for promotion was, oh yeah, Jenny, you're doing an amazing job. It's great. But the people with the power to promote you have no idea who you are. The decision makers need to know that you're doing great work. It's not enough to do great work. They basically told me to drink more. I really hope that is not the case now. So yeah, I had to organize a lot of social events. Yeah, that was consulting in those days. The point is, people need to know the great work that you're doing as well as you just doing it. And also, not just in a promotion sense, but your friends and your network. People want to support you and help you. People are rooting for you, but you need to share your goals with them. People can't actually help you if they don't know what you're aiming for. So, yeah, so share them. Do your experiments publicly. Build your network. And when you're building it, people talk about networking all the time, but do focus on mutual, genuine connections more so than thousands of faceless followers, right? You don't need to be an influencer. It's probably more about building genuine connections with people that you actually care about. And yeah, developing a personal brand. So I think the way things are going at the moment, we're seeing that individuals are more significant than institutions. And we're seeing the leaders of big companies being these big sort of cult figureheads, much more than people thinking about a faceless institution itself. It's never been more important to develop your own personal brand. And again, like I said, doing things publicly, letting people know what you're trying to achieve and letting them help you with that.
So yes, I did the experiment and I did get some lovely feedback from the organizer with some comments from the students, and a few students did reach out to me afterwards. So it can't have been as bad as it felt. Anyway, I did it, and if it encouraged even one person to put themselves out there and go for something, then it was worth it. And maybe that one person was me, but hopefully at least one other person got something out of it. On a related vein, this week's theme tune is a song, or a meme rather, about the sheer terror of putting yourself out there and sharing your art and your authentic self with the world. So you may remember this internet moment from 2016 when Masterclass recorded a New York University student, Maggie Rogers, playing her song Alaska to Pharrell, who's a mega successful producer and artist. And they're just sat next to each other and the camera is on them and the song plays for 3 minutes. And you just see their reactions. And she is, for most of it, quite clearly terrified and afraid to look at him. And, you know, eventually starts kind of vibing out to her own music, trying not to look at him. But Pharrell is so genuinely wowed by her music that he can barely hold it in and can't wait to the end of the song to tell her how perfect it was and how unique. I found it so moving just to watch their emotions and the power of pouring yourself into something, her music, and sharing it with someone. And yeah, it launched her career. So yeah, the moral of the story is put yourself out there. Experiment. And if you think you're not good enough, then you're either learning something new or you haven't been listening to this podcast hard enough. So yeah, a big thanks to Elena McCarthy and the Women Tech Makers organizers for inviting me to speak and for organizing a great conference. And yeah, thank you so much, as always, for listening. Gen AI is produced by Jenny Monroe using publicly released tools, including Gemini and ChatGPT for edits and brainstorming. It's not endorsed by Google. Don't blame Google. Thanks for reading. If you like it, share it with a friend or subscribe, share your email address, and you'll get these vlogcasts in your inbox every couple of weeks. Thanks so much.